How's it going, everybody? My name is LuckyBunz, and in today's video we're going to be going over everything you need to know for the Into the Wild event in Pokemon Go. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first of all, this event is going to be taking place from November 18th to November 22nd, from 12 AM to 11:59 PM local time. The bonuses are going to be as follows. We actually don't have any good bonuses, but the remote raid pass limit is going to be increased to 20 per day from November 18th to November 21st. And then from November 22nd to November 24th, we're actually not going to have any limit on remote raid passes, which is going to be for the global Go Wild area event, so that's the main reason for that. Now with that being said, I do also want to mention that there's not going to be any discount on remote raid passes at this time. There's still going to be the normal price in the shop, so it's really just more for convenience for certain players out there. For most of you, I wouldn't really recommend buying the remote raid passes. You're definitely going to want to go with the in-person passes, they're cheaper. Now following that, let's talk about Pokestop showcases real quick. So it wasn't stated that we're going to have showcases featured during this event, but I'd be kind of surprised if we didn't actually have at least one. For those unfamiliar, you guys can actually get some really good items in game from actually placing first or second in these, like incubators, lucky eggs, star pieces, incense, and even lure modules. So it is really important to hold on to certain Pokemon during this event, especially your double extra large variants, for the best chance at winning. Now in terms of my predictions, it's really difficult to say. I feel like Toxel makes the most sense for a double extra large showcase during this event. But as always, guys, let me know your own predictions in the comment section down below. Now speaking of Toxel, this is actually going to be the debut Pokemon during this event, which can evolve into Toxtricity for 400 candy. And I know what you're thinking, that is a lot of candy, but don't worry about actually evolving your Toxel into Toxtricity, because this Pokemon is going to be available from Dynamax raids as well as Gigantamax raids over the weekend, so there really isn't a big incentive to actually just evolve this all the way up into Toxtricity. Not to mention, you can't actually Dynamax this version of the Pokemon either, so there really isn't an incentive at all. With that being said, Toxel is going to be exclusively in 10km eggs, and it will also have its shiny form available, which is actually a pretty cool shiny. It's like a pink instead of a purple. I'm sure some of you guys are going to try to hatch this Pokemon shiny, but for those of you who are newer out there who don't really understand how these egg hatching events work, I want to give you a fair warning. Historically, the shiny rates when it comes down to egg hatching Pokemon have been quite bad in Pokemon Go, so I would definitely go in managing your expectations, because the odds of you actually getting the shiny here are probably going to be really low. We're talking 1%, maybe even less than 1%. But I'll totally leave that up to you guys. You can definitely try to hatch as many of these as you want to. Regardless, hatching 10km eggs is going to yield a decent amount of Stardust, and combined with the hatching ticket, which we'll talk about later, could be a really good strategy just to get some Stardust in game, where the shiny could be kind of like the cherry on top. Moving on though, let's talk about the wild Pokemon that are going to be featured during this event, and then later on in the video we'll go over which are going to be the best ones to focus on hunting. So we're going to have Ivysaur, Bellsprout, Weepinbell, Alolan Graveler, Magnemite, Magneton, Ghastly, Haunter, Mareep, Flaffy, Roselia, Gulpin, Luxio, Stunky, Whirlipede, Emolga, Foongus, Dedenne, Grubbin, and then finally Togedemaru. For this event, we're not going to have any rare spawns technically, although I do believe that the second stage forms are probably going to be on the rarer side compared to their base stage forms. Overall though, we definitely have a lot of great spawns to hunt during this event, some Pokemon that can even evolve to get legacy movesets during the Go Wild area event, so we'll talk about those later. Now when it comes down to field research, it looks like we're going to have Toxel Candy as well as extra large candy featured, I'm assuming if you're level 31 or higher. We're also going to have Stardust rewards, and then also encounters with random Pokemon that are supposed to be featured during this event. So I'm assuming that's going to be pulling from the wild encounter pool, although I wish it was actually stated which Pokemon we're going to have featured, but it doesn't actually say here, so we'll have to wait and see what ends up happening. Now following that, let's go over the raid Pokemon that are going to be featured during this event, and we definitely have a lot of Pokemon to go over. We'll first start off with the lower tier raids in 3 stars, so we're going to have Weepinbell, Haunter, Flaffy, and Charjabug. It's also worth mentioning that these Pokemon can't actually be shiny from these 3-star raids. Not to mention, the first 3 can all be caught in the wild. The only Pokemon that is kind of exclusive here in raids is going to be Charjabug, but that's it. So when it comes down to it, I can't really recommend doing these 3-star raids that much. There just isn't that much of an incentive. Honestly, it's a pretty bad pool if you ask me. I think the main reason for this is because we actually have a really good 5-star raid pool, so let's take a look at those right now. We're going to talk about Dialga and Palkia origin forms first, since technically they have a full rotation from November 18th to November 27th, but the other Pokemon are only going to be available for one single day. Now, Dialga and Palkia origin forms are also going to have raid hours respectively on November 21st and November 22nd, so they're going to have more spawns available just kind of within that time period. But we'll talk about the raid hours later. First of all, let me just go over Dialga and Palkia origin forms. I mean, I'm really hyped to see these two Pokemon return. They are without a doubt some of the best Pokemon you guys can have in the entire game. These Pokemon were released earlier this year for the Sinnoh Tour, and with their legacy movesets Roar of Time and Special Rend respectively, they are incredible. Like, not only to use these movesets for the raid/gym meta and for PvP, but also the adventure effects like Roar of Time and Spatial Rend are crazy good in-game, guys. Roar of Time basically pauses your incense, your star piece, and your lucky egg, so that's going to be in 6-minute increments. This is usually really good when you combine it with the daily adventure incense. This is how people sometimes get those shiny Galarian birds, or even just Galarian birds in general. And then for Spatial Rend, it pretty much doubles your radius, which means you can catch more Pokemon by just having access to, a bigger radius of spawns available to you. So if you know where your cluster spawns are in your local area, using Spatial Rend is honestly a really good way to take advantage of this bonus. Now with that being said, these movesets are not going to be guaranteed when you actually raid these Pokemon, and I'm not really sure how rare they're going to be either, but it's absolutely worth raiding these two for like all the other reasons. They're both meta relevant in PvP and raid battles, so getting a really good IV spread should be a top priority. They also have their shiny forms available, so I mean, you have a lot of incentives outside of just the adventure effect moves, and keep in mind, like, if you don't get the adventure effect move, it's not the end of the world, you can always trade for it as well. And I'm pretty confident you're going to have some friends out there who are probably going to get extras that they wouldn't mind trading to you. If you don't have any friends out there, well, I mean, I guess you kind of have to just raid for this as much as you can to try and get those movesets, but hopefully you guys can acquire these movesets one way or another. I also want to give a quick testimonial to Palkia Origin Form. Like, this has actually been one of my most used Pokemon since I got it during the Sinnoh Tour. It has literally been amazing in every aspect of the game. Raid battles, PvP, rocket battles, Spatial Rend, like you name it. It has pretty much everything that you want, so if you're able to get a good IV spread with Spatial Rend, you are in the clear, man. Next up, let's go over Nal'Ega, which is going to be featured on November 19th. So this is actually going to be the best non-mega poison type attacker in the game with Poison Jab plus Sludge Bomb. Now in my opinion, guys, I honestly couldn't think of a better time to actually raid Nal'Ega. You're going to have the shiny form available. If you choose to participate in the raid hour later on in the evening, you're also going to get guaranteed extra large candy from these in-person raids, so that's going to be a super good bonus, and we'll talk about that more in just a second here when we go over raid hours, but definitely recommend doing Nal'Ega if you don't have that many poison type attackers in your lineup. Now following that, on November 20th, we're going to have Tapu Koko, which isn't really that meta relevant in raids or PvP, but the shiny form is going to be available, so if you actually still need to get this Pokemon and it's shiny, that's going to be the main reason to actually focus on it. If you are limited on raid passes, then definitely focusing on Nal'Ega, Dialga Origin Form, or even Palkia Origin Form is going to be a much better use, in my opinion, just because they all have meta relevance as well, along with their shiny forms. Now I did say that I would go over raid hours specifically, and there is going to be a good reason for that, and that's going to be because when you actually raid these in person, you're going to get one guaranteed extra large candy, which is honestly a super good bonus, guys. We rarely ever get this kind of bonus in game, and let's be honest here, most people are probably going to try and raid these Pokemon regardless, and this kind of motivates more people to actually do them in person for that guaranteed extra large candy. Like, that is definitely a big deal. Getting that resource is probably one of the toughest resources to get in the entire game. So when it comes down to the rotation, it's going to be similar to the raid boss rotation that we just went over. On the 19th, we're going to have Nal'Ega. On the 20th, we're going to have Tapu Koko. On the 21st, we're going to have Dialga Origin Form, and then on the 22nd, we're going to have Palkia Origin Form. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with how raid hours work, basically most gyms are going to have that featured Pokemon appearing on them, and the raids are going to also reset after about 25 minutes. Which means you can pretty much hit the same gyms around you at the half-hour mark. It's definitely a lot more convenient if you only have a few gyms around you as well. Now, if you guys are newer to the game and you're not really sure if you're going to have players around you, I would strongly recommend checking out Campfire for any local meetups before the event. Overall, though, we definitely have some amazing raid bosses. Like, I cannot stress raiding Palkia and Dialga enough. Like, if you don't want to focus on the other two, perfectly fine, but Dialga and Palkia Origin Form, guys, if you weren't able to get good IV spreads or the adventure effects, literally S-tier priority. Moving on though, let's talk about the Mega Raids that are going to be available during this event. We actually have two Pokemon that are perfect. We're going to have Mega Beedrill and Mega Ampharos. So Mega Beedrill is going to be the second best poison type Mega in the game behind Mega Gengar. It also has a dual typing of Bug and Poison, which is great for candy bonuses. So especially for newer players out there, if you don't actually have a poison type Mega, definitely make sure to do a few Mega Beedrill raids, get the energy, and then you can have this Pokemon ready to go for the upcoming weekend. Now for Mega Ampharos, basically the exact same concept, right? You know, it's going to be an Electro-type Mega if you missed Mega Manectric earlier this month. This is going to be the second best Electro-type Mega in the game, but Mega Ampharos actually has a dual typing of Dragon and Electric, which makes it better than Mega Manectric for candy bonuses during certain events. I've actually used Mega Ampharos more than Mega Manectric, so keep that in mind. So once again, if you are a newer player, I strongly recommend doing a few of these raids to get the initial energy that you need to Mega Evolve it, and then you're going to be good to go for the upcoming weekend. Once again, these spawns are going to alternate every single hour for the Go Wild Area event, so it's going to be 1 hour of Electric, 1 hour of Poison, and then it's going to repeat for the next 6 hours. So hopefully for the veteran players watching this, you guys do have these megas at Mega Level 3, or you have other respective Poison and Electric type megas at Mega Level 3. For newer players watching this, definitely make sure to do these raids during this event. Next up, let's take a look at max battles. Now, I'm only going to talk about Dynamax Drilbur during this event because this is going to be the main Pokemon you guys really want to focus on. It's going to be honestly the most important Dynamax Pokemon you guys need to hunt in anticipation for Gmax Toxtricity, which is going to be featured during the upcoming Wild Area event over the weekend. So Dynamax Drilbur raids are going to be 1-star, which means they're only going to cost 250 max particles per battle. So you could do about 3 to 4 of these every single day for free, and that's it. Like, that's all that you basically need. Now, specifically on November 18th, which is going to be the first day of this event, there's also going to be an increased chance to get rare extra large candy from completing these max battles. There's also going to be a max hour for Drilbur from 6 to 7 p.m., which means that every power spot is going to become Drilbur. So if you're having trouble finding some Drilbur in max battles right now, definitely just wait until the max hour. That's going to be a great time to get them done. Now, when it comes down to it, if you're just not interested in max battles at all, I understand that. That's perfectly fine, but like if you change your mind over the weekend and you actually have a group together to get Gigantamax Toxtricity done, I mean, you're going to want to have at least 1 or 2 of these at least, and it doesn't require that much effort on your part, guys. They're super easy to beat, they don't require much to evolve. I mean, that's it. That's all you have to do. So anyways, rant over. If you want to do them, by all means, you definitely have the resources available to get these done effectively and all for free. And if you don't want to do them, well, I mean, that's on you. Moving on though, let's talk about these special event tickets next. We actually have 2 different tickets available, and we have some Ultra Boxes available in the web store as well, which we'll go over later. So let's go over the Into the Wild raid ticket first. So from this ticket, you're going to get access to 2 free raid passes every single day. This basically means 1 additional free pass every single day. These are going to be the orange passes, by the way. So if you don't use them, you will lose them. You're also going to get 5,000 additional experience from raid battles and 1 additional candy from 4-star, 5-star, Mega, Ultra Beast, and Primal raids. I don't really know why they included Primal raids in this description, probably just a copy and paste from the global event on the Wild Area over the weekend, because we're not supposed to have Primal raids featured during this week. So again, it's just wording, don't take that one too seriously. Now I also want to clarify, this does not mean 1 extra large candy additional, it's only just 1 candy. So I don't know why that was the case. I feel like 1 extra large candy guaranteed should have definitely been one of the bonuses for this, but it wasn't, so I mean, yeah, it is what it is. Now you're also going to get a daily timed research, which is going to award you 20 Pokeballs, 1,000 experience, 2,000 Stardust, 3 Toxel candy, and then 1 Toxel extra large candy. These research are going to expire every day at 8 p.m, so if you don't actually claim them or even get them done, you're just going to lose all the rewards. So I would recommend making sure to get these done every single day if you do decide to buy this ticket. And that pretty much covers the Into the Wild raid ticket. Let's go over the hatch ticket next. So from this one, you're going to get bonuses of 1/2 hatch distance, 2 times hatch Stardust, 2 times hatch experience, 2 times hatch candy, and then 1 single-use incubator per day from spinning Pokestops. So a regular incubator with only 1 use available. Normally you get 3 uses per incubator, this one's only going to have 1. So over the course of 5 days, that's going to be about like 1.5, 1 2/3 of incubators. So basically you get about 200 to 300 Pokecoins in terms of value from these incubators alone. That's not too bad, not to mention the bonuses are honestly really good in my opinion. Now you're also going to get the daily timed research as well from this ticket. If you actually decide to buy both of these, I'm pretty sure you're going to get 2 daily timed research, which is going to be pretty cool. I can't confirm that, I'm just kind of speculating here. It definitely seems like that is going to be the case. Now the reason that I say that is because when we actually go to the web store, there is going to be an option to buy both of these tickets for like an ultra ticket event box. And by doing this through the web store, you're also going to get an additional green raid pass, so a premium raid pass, plus an incubator for free. So if you're actually considering buying both of these tickets, I would strongly recommend going through the web store. It just makes a lot more sense. Now speaking of the web store, we also have the Go Wild Area Ultra Ticket box as well. So normally, if you wanted to buy the event ticket for the Go Wild Area event over the weekend, which I strongly recommend by the way, it's definitely going to be worth it if you're going to be playing a lot, especially for the increased shiny odds. That always just makes these tickets so worth it. But basically, if you go through the web store instead, you're going to get an additional incubator plus an MP pack, basically 800 MP for free, so more incentive to go through the web store and just do that. But at the end of the day, guys, it's totally up to you if you want to get the ticket. I'll have some more videos going over the analysis of everything later on during this week, but definitely worth it to go through the web store if you're already considering buying either of these. But now we have to discuss, are these tickets actually worth it? So first of all, let's go over the raid ticket. If you're planning on participating in the raid hours during the week, the $5 will essentially pay for itself in raid passes. That being said though, if you're just going to be focused on one or two specific raid bosses like Palkia or Dialga Origin Form, it might just be better to spend your money on raid passes by themselves or just Pokecoins, and then buy raid passes in the shop that way. The additional 1 candy and 5,000 experience bonus from raids are nice, but they're not spectacular. I am a bit surprised once again that they didn't add an extra large candy bonus, because that would have definitely changed my opinion on this overall. Now I do also want to talk about the daily timed research that's going to be paired together with this ticket, but since both of the tickets kind of feature the same daily timed research, we'll go over that after we talk about the hatch ticket. So in my opinion guys, this is going to be a great deal if you were already planning on hatching a lot of eggs during the week. You could also try and collect 12km eggs from the Team Go Rocket leaders and then use a start piece while hatching as many of these as possible in order to get a ridiculous amount of Stardust. These bonuses are seriously no joke, like 2 times hatched Stardust plus 2 times hatched candy. You're gonna get all the candy that you want on these rare Pokemon, and with a start piece, you're gonna get so much Stardust. Like 12km and 10km eggs give you the most Stardust from any egg. So, I mean, the bonus right there is fantastic, even if you just do like 1 batch of 9. But at the end of the day, it really just comes down to if you already have a lot of incubators saved up. Some of you guys probably do, in which case the hatch ticket definitely makes a lot of sense. If you're a newer player who probably doesn't have that much experience with these egg hatching events, then I don't really see it being as worth it, but for the veteran players, I'd be surprised if they were not buying this hatch ticket. Now keep in mind, normally I am not the person to advocate for hatching tickets or even hatching events in general, but the bonuses here are a little bit too good to pass up if you're actually a pay-to-play player. Now like I mentioned earlier, I want to go over the daily timed research that's going to be paired together with these tickets as well. So when it comes down to it, Toxtricity is going to require 400 candy to evolve. And if you're actually concerned about the resources maybe just to power up one, I mean, you're probably going to acquire them just from hatching eggs and just doing raids over the weekend, so you don't really need to pay for these tickets if candy is your main focus on Toxel. Like, I just don't think that's going to be as worth it as you might think. So even if you can't get enough players together to get Gigantamax done, you can always just do Toxtricity by itself, which is going to be significantly easier. I'm pretty sure when it comes down to it, regular Dynamax Toxtricity is going to be a 4-star max battle, and then Gigantamax is going to be a 6-star max battle. So I mean, at the end of the day, guys, it should be accessible to most players whether you have a large enough group or not, especially if you focused on getting those Excadrill like I mentioned earlier. If you didn't do that, then I can't really help you, but hopefully you did listen to that advice. Basically though, in conclusion, depending on your goals, these tickets do have their value in place. It's not going to be like a crazy deal or anything on either of them, but if you're already planning on going hard for raids or for eggs, then it could be worth considering. Otherwise, I would probably just skip both of these and save your money for the Go Wild Area event over the weekend and buy that ticket instead. Keep in mind that ticket is going to offer you the exact same bonuses over the weekend. Next up, let's go over the Spotlight Hour that's going to be taking place on Tuesday the 19th, which is going to be a combined Spotlight Hour featuring Combee and Teddiursa. Now this is going to be an amazing Spotlight Hour, guys. Honestly, kind of bad timing though, because if you want to stock up on Pokeballs for the upcoming Wild Area event, you don't really want to burn all of them during this event either, but at the same time, it's so difficult to pass up, because Combee is going to be a Pokemon that awards 750 Stardust per catch, and the special bonus during this event is going to be 2 times catch Stardust, which means for every Combee that you catch, it's going to be 1500 Stardust. That's literally insane, and that isn't even included if you actually add a Star Piece. If you add a Star Piece, that's going to be 2200 Stardust per catch, guys. But the downside here is that Combee does have a low catch rate, so catching this Pokemon successfully and then consistently is going to be a little bit more challenging. So with that being said, I would strongly recommend going into this event with a bunch of regular raspberries for an improved catch rate, otherwise you're totally going to exhaust your ball supply. Keep in mind you can definitely clear over 500,000 Stardust in this Spotlight Hour alone, even if you're not playing like super efficiently. If you're playing efficiently, you can honestly clear over 1 million Stardust, so yeah, it's literally that crazy. Now, I do want to remind you that we also have Teddiursa available as well, which is actually pretty good in PvP in both its 2nd stage and 3rd stage form, Ursaring and Ursaluna respectively. So if you want to focus on this Pokemon, you can definitely catch this as well, but if you're mainly just focused on the Stardust grind, you should put all of your time and attention on catching Combee. Once you're done catching Combee in that respective area, move on to the next spot, and keep doing that for the entire hour. I know it may seem like 1 hour is a lot of time, but it's really not. Like, if you really want to maximize those star pieces, you gotta be going hard. And when it comes down to these Combee, you do not want to miss a single one of them. So once again, this event is going to be taking place on Tuesday from 6 to 7 p.m. local time. This will also be the same time as Now You Go raid hour, so you kind of have to pick between the two. Although, I mean, when it comes down to it, it should be a pretty easy pick, guys. Go for the Combee, it makes a lot more sense. Even if you don't use any star pieces, every single Combee is going to be 1500 Stardust. That is going to be literally insane. Do not miss it. Now, before we get into the best Pokemon to focus on during this event, let's quickly go over PvP IVs and how they work. So basically, you want to have low attack IVs and high defense and high stamina IVs. The reason for this is because it allows you to level up your Pokemon the most before it hits the CP limit for the Great League and the Ultra League. There are going to be some Pokemon that are going to fall under the exception rule because their max CP does not reach that limit, in which case you would just want the best IVs possible, which is typically the Hundo or like a high attack IV spread. Now as far as this video goes, we're going to be mainly focused on the 0-15-15 IV spread as a general one to aim for. If you want to quickly pull up good PvP IVs for Great League and Ultra League, you guys can use this search string on screen right now. This will definitely save you a lot of time. But now with that being said, let's go over which are going to be the best Pokemon to focus on during this event. So first of all, we're going to have Ivysaur, which evolves into Venusaur. This Pokemon has relevance in the Great League, the Ultra League, and it also has a Mega Evolution as well. Now specifically in the Great League and the Ultra League with Frenzy Plant, the Legacy moveset, it's going to be within the top 100, so it's a great Pokemon to have. And the best news here is that you can actually evolve Venusaur during the Go Wild Area event over the weekend, November 23rd and November 24th, to get it with this moveset. This is going to be a super rare opportunity, guys, so do not miss out on your chance to get Venusaur with Frenzy Plant. Now next up we have Bellsprout, which evolves into Victreebel. This Pokemon has relevance in the Great League and the Ultra League. Now you can actually run Razor Leaf on this instead of going with the Combee exclusive moveset to Magical Leaf. Although with that being said, if you wanted to wait, next month we are going to have December Combee, so you can just evolve it then to get it with Magical Leaf if that's going to be the preferred moveset you want on it. Shadow Bellsprout is also going to be available from Team Garaka Decoy Grunts right now, so you should be hunting for these as well in preparation for that event. Now for those of you out there who are unfamiliar with hunting down the Team Garaka Decoy Grunts, you want to have your Super Rocket Radar equipped. This is what you actually use to find Giovanni. And then once you're done actually hunting them, make sure to unequip your Super Rocket Radar. You can go to your bag and then unequip it from there. If you have any additional questions, I'll try to explain it more in the comment section down below, or maybe one of my viewers can actually explain it to you guys. I've been so busy with content recently, so it's been hard to get around to comments, but I'll do my best to respond. Anyways, let's talk about the next Pokemon here, which is going to be Alolan Graveler, which evolves into Alolan Golem. Graveler is actually going to be one of the special Pokemon that benefits from a free trade evolution discount, so I would strongly recommend mirror trading these if you want to stack a bunch of free experience. Keep in mind, like when you actually evolve it from Geodude to Graveler, you have to spend 25 candy regardless, even if you traded it. But from Graveler to Golem, it's going to be free if you traded it. So, I mean, it's basically just free experience. You should not waste this opportunity. You can save these in a search tag for a 2x evolve experience event, typically like a spotlight hour, and then combine it with the Lucky Egg to really maximize your experience gains. Now, that being said, Alolan Golem is also a decent budget rock and electric type attacker with some nice resistances. So if you are a newer player and you don't have that many attackers for these typings, I would hold on to your high level ones regardless of the IVs, evolve them all the way up, and then use them as temporary placeholders until you get better attackers in the future. Next up we have Magnemite, which evolves into Magnezone. We also have Magneton featured in the wild as well. Now going from Magneton to Magnezone, this can be evolved under a magnetic lure module. You don't need to have a Sinnoh Stone. I've made this mistake in the past because I always get it confused. Magnetic lure module to evolve Magneton into Magnezone with 100 candy. Now this Pokemon has relevance in the Great League and the Ultra League, and in terms of the raid relevance, it's only a few points higher than Alolan Golem as an electric type raid attacker, but it does also have a Shadow variant that is going to be significantly better. This Pokemon is also going to be available from Team Garaka Grunts right now, but you can't actually TM Frustration during this event, so I mean, you don't have to really hunt for it that hard. It's just more of an option I wanted to put out there in case you were considering powering this Pokemon up. We have a pretty big Pokemon coming up next that's going to be Ghastly, which evolves into Gengar. This Pokemon has relevance in the Great League and the Ultra League. It also has relevance in the raid meta, has a Mega Evolution, and a Gigantamax form, so yeah, this Pokemon is completely cracked out. Now, in terms of the release of the Gigantamax Gengar during the Halloween event, some of you may need more extra large candy for this Pokemon, so it's going to be a great time to actually farm some during this event if you weren't able to get enough during the Halloween event. Now, on top of that, Ghastly is also going to be one of the few Pokemon that benefits from a trade evolution candy discount, so similar to Graveler evolving into Golem earlier. So if you trade this Pokemon and evolve it all the way up into Gengar, it's going to cost you 25 candy to evolve it to the second stage form Haunter, and then from Haunter to Gengar it's going to be free. Now keep in mind, Haunter is also going to be available during this event in the wild, which means if you just catch that Pokemon and mirror trade it, you can just evolve them all for free, so that's a pretty good way to do it. Now when it comes down to Mega Gengar, this is going to be the best Ghost and Poison type attacker in the game, and while the energy isn't available during this event, getting a good IV spread above 90% should be something to aim for. I understand that some players might not want to do this because they already have a Gigantamax Gengar, which can also Mega Evolve as well, but at the end of the day, it's totally up to you if you want to try and aim for that hundo. Now like I mentioned earlier, Gengar also has relevance in the Great League and the Ultra League, but it does need to have the Legacy moveset Shadow Punch, and you can't actually evolve to get that during this event, so if you got a good IV spread, you could honestly hold on to it, or if you want to evolve it and then use it right now, you would have to Elite TM to get Shadow Punch. Next up, let's take a look at Mareep, which evolves all the way up into Ampharos. This has relevance in the Ultra League as well as the Mega Evolution. Now like I mentioned earlier, we're going to have Mega Ampharos available in the Mega Raid rotation, so getting energy for this Pokemon should be pretty easy. Both Mareep and Fluffy are going to be available in the wild as well, so getting extra large candy should also be pretty accessible. This Pokemon definitely has some nice relevance as a decent attacker in the Raid/Gym meta as an electric type Pokemon. And then again, it also has a dual typing of Dragon and Electric for candy bonuses, which is super convenient. Now when it comes down to Roserade, this is going to be a pretty good grass type attacker to have if you don't already have Kartana, Zarude, or Shaman. This can also be used as a poison type attacker, but I will warn you, the move pool on Roserade is massive, so if you want to try and get the right moveset, whether that's for grass or for poison, you're going to end up going through a lot of TMs, which makes it kind of tougher to recommend, especially with the high evolution requirement. So all things considered, yeah, it's not that bad, but if you don't have that many TMs, maybe Roserade isn't the best option for you. We have Luxio next, which evolves into Luxray. This has relevance in the Raid/Gym meta, but not like super relevance, just kind of like decent relevance. Given that it does require 125 candy, or I guess 100 candy in this case, it's a little bit more on the expensive side. Now I do also want to mention though, this Pokemon could be good in PvP in the future, even though it's not good right now. And the reason for that is because during this weekend, you can evolve to get the exclusive Combee moveset Psychic Fangs. So once again, if you use the search string that I mentioned earlier and you end up getting a good IV spread on this Pokemon, it might be worth evolving it over the weekend and just kind of holding on to it in case the meta ever changes, which, I mean, let's be honest here, it's probably going to change at some point. I feel like they're pushing this Pokemon for a reason. Usually in the past, Niantic has like pushed certain Pokemon that people completely ignore, and then out of nowhere, like gets a huge boost. So we could see a huge boost to Luxray in some sort of way, and yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Next up, let's talk about Stunky, which evolves into Skuntank. It's currently in the top 100 for both the Great League and the Ultra League right now, so a pretty good Pokemon to hunt down. I think for the Ultra League spread though, it is going to be an extra large variant, so you're going to want to focus on the extra large candy if this is a priority for you. Following that, we have Emolga, which has relevance in the Open Great League, and then we have Grubbin, which evolves into Charjabug, which has relevance in the Open Great League as well. Now this is a really awesome Pokemon to have, but it does need to have the exclusive Combee moveset Volt Switch. So if you want to get Volt Switch on your Charjabug, you want to wait until December Combee to evolve this and then get it for free. And then finally we have Togedemaru, which has relevance in the Open Great League, so overall we definitely have a lot of great Pokemon available for PvP during this event. Once again, guys, we have Dialga and Palkia Origin Form. I cannot stress how important it is to raid these Pokemon during this event. Their shiny forms, the adventure effects, like, not to mention their raid relevance. These Pokemon are so freaking good. Arguably two of the best Pokemon to get in the entire game. Do not miss your opportunity. If you want to raid these hard, seriously take advantage of it, do the raid hours, get the extra additional Rare Candy XL, like it's going to be so worth it. We also have Nal'Ega, which is going to be the best non-mega poison type attacker in the game, great opportunity to hunt this Pokemon down as well. And then finally we have Dynamax Drilbur, which evolves into Dynamax Excadrill, super important Pokemon to take down Gigantamax Toxtricity over the weekend. Do not skip this, get at least 2 to 3 of these at minimum, evolve them to Excadrill, make sure that they have the right movesets. It's going to be Mudshot or Mudslap for the fast move, and then Scorching Sands or Drill Run for the charge move. So it's pretty easy to get the right moveset on this Pokemon. It has a lot of available options that are going to be good to have, and that's basically all that you have to do. You don't have to give it the max moves, you don't have to power it up, just make sure to evolve it, give it the right movesets, and that's it. Now we just went over a ton of really awesome Pokemon. If there were any Pokemon on there that you want to get extra large candy on, I do want to remind you we do have the current seasonal bonus of guaranteed extra large candy from trading Pokemon if you're level 31 or higher. You can do 100 trades every single day, so make sure to take advantage of this each day if possible. On top of that, we also have the seasonal bonus of 1.5 times friendship experience right now. This is by far one of the best ways to get experience in the game. For example, normally when you hit best friends with the Lucky Egg, it's going to be 200,000 experience, but right now you can actually get 300,000 experience, so it's super good. Open your gifts every single day. You can open up to 30 gifts every single day, and then send gifts as often as possible as well. To wrap things up, let's go over the best Mega Evolution you guys want to have active during this event. So overall, the main spawns are going to be Electric, with Grass being a close second. So if you want to focus on Electric, go with Mega Ampharos, Manectric, or Primal Kyogre. And if you want to focus on Grass, go with Mega Sceptile, Venusaur, Abomasnow, or Primal Groudon. If you have any of these Pokemon at Mega Level 3, prioritize that one over the others for increased candy and extra large candy. Anyways, with that being said, that's pretty much everything I have for you guys in this video. If you want to actually get yourself prepared for the Go Wild Area event this upcoming weekend, check out this video right here. But before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you all real soon in the next one.